Welcome, beautiful people. On today's episode, we're going to be looking at the Mexican heather or the Cuphea. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode on the Plant ID Spotlight. Today, we will be looking at the Mexican heather. Common name is false heather. Botanical name goes by Cuphea, and it is actually part of the Literaceae family, which also includes things like crepe myrtles and pomegranates. Now, this perennial is actually naturalized in Hawaii and apparently is quite invasive over there. But it's not the case where I am. So we are based in the Asian continent of Malaysia, Johor Bahru, and we are a tropical region. Therefore, we do not have zones. We only have sun and rain, but it's beautiful. So this one I definitely do recommend as a beginner plant. There are a few variants of this perennial, and this is a small specimen that I'm showing you here. It is an absolute pollinator magnet. It honestly attracts things like butterflies, bees, wasps, small little sweat bees, ants, everything under the sun. And I love it because it actually has a really nice growth habit, and I'll show you a mature specimen over here. This is one of my larger Mexican heathers. Now, this has been in the ground for about a year, and it does get a little bit more widespread than this. This is roughly around a foot high and about 2 feet wide, something like that. It can get bigger. You could definitely prune this and create a topiary. You could definitely create it into a sort of shrubbery masterpiece where you could globe it, you could square it, you could use it as a hedge, you could do absolutely everything with it. Now, I will make a video separately on the Gulf fritillaries that are flying around. I actually raised that in my garden. I'll create a video about that soon, but I want to show you guys the versatility of this perennial. I love this because it grows in absolutely any soil. Now, I have this in my garden on the outside. It's a work in progress, but this particular one has been raised in clay soil, and when I say clay, I mean this thing. I can't even dig it with my finger. So this thing is absolutely, oh, there we go. We've got a huge centipede right there. Sign of a healthy garden, but not necessarily great for human beings. So this soil is clay. Absolute clay. Now, you'd be surprised because a lot of things live in this, and clay soil is very, very full of nutrients. However, it holds a lot of moisture. In certain species of plants like petunias and things like that, you definitely cannot use clay soil. It will rot the roots out. But for this Mexican heathers, they do very well actually in clay soil, and they were originally planted in clay soil, but when I transferred them to my garden on the outside, I switched them to more of like an organic mix and something a little bit softer where they can grow faster. So they can definitely thrive in clay soil. Unfortunately, it takes much longer. You don't get results straight away in terms of like if you use an organic mix. But the only thing is with clay soil, because there's so much nutrient content, it is more of like a set and forget kind of thing. If you want to use an organic mix, you totally can, but you got to fertilize it and make sure that the plant does not go have sort of like a yellowish leaf or tint to it. And I'll show you an example of that in a second, because it will not flower for you well. So that's something you got to take care of. Other than that, care requirements, quite easy. We have a good amount of rain except for the dry spells in our climate, and that happens usually in the middle of the year, June to about August. They do pretty well in the heat if you plant them earlier. If you plant them maybe in January, give them a little bit of time to sort of establish their roots. You can definitely leave them in the hot sun. They will not wilt, you know, they flower readily, they've got a good root system, they do very well. And it's honestly no care involved at all. A little bit of rain and it goes a long way. But if in case you do end up planting it in the middle of the hot season, you just have to put it in some shade for a while, get it to kind of establish, give it water every day for about 2 weeks, and once the roots are established, you can transfer it, or you can keep it in the pot and it will bloom very nicely for you with very little care. But in ground, they are much easier to take care of because they've got a vast array of soil and a lot of surface area to collect water, unlike in a pot. And I'll show you why in a second. So this is a mature specimen. This is my favorite variant. It is the dark purple. It comes in white, light lilacs, and a lavender color. So let's go and see that right now. This is the white variant of the Mexican heather. This one is a little bit different in terms of growth habit. If you see, it's a little bit more upright, not as spreading or fan-shaped as the purple one, but definitely beautiful. It has more of a dark glossy leaf and more of an ornamental, in my opinion. Not as pollinator attractant as the purple, definitely. So I'll show you another variant. Now this is my mix. If you notice here, we have both the dark purple and a light lilac lavender color. So this one has been kept in semi-shade, which is why it's really leggy. Still attracts much more pollinators than the white one, but growth and soil types are the same. Only thing, if you notice here, because of the fact that it's in a pot and it's not in ground, it's got a little bit more of yellowing on the bottom. If there's too little water or not enough fertilizer, not enough sun, so that's something that you got to take note of. If you want to grow it in a pot, you definitely can, but you just got to watch it just a little bit, because the reservoir is much smaller as compared to being in ground. So you can mix both colors like what I've done here. I've mixed them both and pollinators love it. I specifically love it because it's such an aesthetically pleasing color palette, you know, very cottagey, very beautiful. So it's definitely a beginner plant that you guys can consider growing for your pollinator habitat. It grows in poor soils, basically in any kind of soil, easy to care for, better to be in ground than in pot, but can be totally kept in pots. It does well in full sun, and when I say full sun, I mean like 40-degree sun, like it's crazy. So we've got a little bit small little sweat bee. Oh, he's gone. Small little sweat bee. They grow in full sun, so very easy to care for. Definitely a beginner friendly plant. Give it a try. It can get a little bit large, about 2 feet across and 2 feet high, but in all honesty, if you have enough of this, you'll see all kinds of pollinators come into it, and it's such a blessing to see them. Honestly, it makes gardening for me especially much more worth it. So give it a shot, you guys. You know, I'll be posting a few more videos on my butterfly series, because I do raise butterflies in my garden, and I hope to see you guys in that video. So take care. See you in the next one. Bye.